Some mysteries feel wrong, not just unexplained, but unnatural. A family stalked by a stranger who knew everything about them, down to the names of their children. A pilot who vanished after describing something circling his plane, something he said wasn't human. Two men found dead on a hillside wearing metal masks, as if preparing for something no one was meant to see. A disappearance caught on camera, with no visible exit, and a final elevator ride that still haunts the internet, frame by frame. These aren't legends, these aren't creepypasta. Every single one of these stories is real, and to this day, none of them have a definitive answer. Some stories start with a mystery. This one starts with a letter. In 2014, a family bought what they thought was their dream home. 657 Boulevard, a quiet New Jersey neighborhood, safe, peaceful, normal, or so they thought. Days after moving in, the first letter arrived. No return address, just one message. Welcome to the neighborhood. Sounds friendly, right? It wasn't. The letter continued. I have been watching 657 Boulevard for decades, and now it's your turn. The writer knew intimate details. The family's cars, their renovations, their children, and the exact rooms those children slept in. Then it got worse. The writer asked, have they found what lies in the walls yet? The family contacted police. Investigators searched the home. Neighbors were questioned. DNA was tested. Nothing. No fingerprints. No suspects. No motive. Just more letters. The writer called the children young blood. They claimed ownership, not of the letter, not of the street, but of the house. Eventually, the family abandoned the home. They never moved in. They sold it at a loss. And the watcher, never identified, never caught, never stopped. Some mysteries hide in the woods, some in the ocean, but this one, it was waiting in the mailbox. On October 21st, 1978, a 20-year-old pilot named Frederick Valentich took off from Moorabbin Airport in Australia. It was a routine training flight, clear skies, light wind, nothing unusual. At least at first. As Frederick flew over Bass Strait, a stretch of ocean already known for strange disappearances, he contacted air traffic control. His voice sounded calm. Then he said something unusual. There's an aircraft above me. Controllers checked radar. There was nothing there. No aircraft, no signature, no transponder. But Frederick insisted. It's hovering. It's playing some sort of game with me. His voice grew tense. Controllers asked him to describe it. Frederick paused and said, it's not an aircraft. Moments later, he reported engine problems. Then, there was a strange metallic scraping sound. No voice, no transmission, just that noise. And then, silence. Frederick Valentich and his plane vanished. Search teams combed the area for days. No wreckage, no oil slick, no debris, just nothing. Witnesses later reported seeing a strange light in the sky, a craft with green lights, something hovering where Frederick disappeared. But none of it was confirmed. On August 20th, 1966, a young boy hiking near Vintem Hill in Brazil made a horrifying discovery. Two bodies, lying side by side, partially hidden in the brush. Both men were dressed neatly in suits. Both wore long waterproof raincoats, and both had bizarre, homemade lead masks covering their faces, the kind used to block radiation. Next to them was a notebook, an empty bottle of water, and two towels neatly folded beside their bodies. There were no signs of a struggle, no blood, no wounds, just silence. Investigators opened the notebook, hoping for a clue. Inside, they found a single, chilling instruction. 1630. Be at the agreed place. Take capsules. After effect, protect metals. Wait for signal. But no one knows what capsules they took, what signal they waited for, or who, if anyone, was supposed to contact them. The two men were identified as electronic technicians from Rio de Janeiro. Friends reported they were fascinated by spiritualism, energy experiments, and the belief that technology could communicate with beings beyond Earth. Some say they were attempting to make contact with UFOs. Others think they were part of a secret group that believed intense radiation from alien craft could be deadly, unless their faces were shielded. Witnesses later claimed they saw a bright orange object hovering over Vintem Hill the very night the men died, but nothing was confirmed. No poison was found in their systems, no signs of violence, no clear cause of death, just two men lying calmly on a hillside, waiting for something that never came, or something that did. Whatever they were expecting, it wasn't of this world. And whatever happened that night, those lead masks are the only thing left behind. Some mysteries don't happen in the sky, or the ocean, or the woods. Some happen in the mind. In the early 1970s, two identical twins were born in Wales, June and Jennifer Gibbons, and from the moment they could speak, they didn't. Not to teachers, not to classmates, not even to family, only to each other. June and Jennifer created their own private language, a mix of sped-up English, mirrored speech, and coded words no one else could understand. They moved the same, spoke the same, reacted the same. It was like watching one person inside two bodies. As they grew older, their silence got darker. They kept diaries describing their obsession with each other. Love and hatred mixed together. In one entry, Jennifer wrote, "There is a murderous shadow between us." Eventually, their behavior spiraled. The twins committed arson, petty crimes, obsessive rituals. They were sent to Broadmoor, one of the most secure psychiatric hospitals in the UK. There, they made a pact. One of them would die, so the other could finally live. In 1993, while being transferred to a lower security facility, Jennifer suddenly collapsed. No drugs, no poison, no injury. Her heart just stopped. Doctors couldn't explain it. June later said, "We had decided. One had to die, and I was free." After Jennifer's death, June began speaking, clearly, naturally, immediately. The selective mutism that had controlled their entire lives vanished. People say twins share a connection deeper than words, but June and Jennifer prove something else. Sometimes the person closest to you is the one who holds your fate. On the morning of December 1st, 1948, a man was found dead on Somerton Beach in Australia. He was sitting upright against the seawall, legs extended, arms at his sides, as if he had simply fallen asleep. But he wasn't sleeping, and no one knew who he was. The man had no wallet, no ID. Every tag inside his clothing had been neatly cut out. His fingerprints matched no records. His face, no one recognized. It was as if he didn't exist. His clothes were oddly formal for a warm night. A pressed shirt, a tie, a jacket, polished shoes, but the brand labels, all removed. Then investigators found a suitcase at Adelaide railway station, most likely his. Inside were clothes with the tags cut out, odd tools, thread not manufactured in Australia, and a mysterious piece of paper hidden in a secret pocket of his pants. It had two words, Tamam Shud, Persian, meaning, "It is finished." Police traced the scrap of paper to a rare edition of a book of poetry, the Rubaiyat of Omar Khayyam. Someone had torn that exact page from that exact copy, and inside that book, on the back cover, they found a code. 5 lines of letters arranged in a pattern. A possible cipher, a message, or complete nonsense. No one has ever cracked it. Some people believe the Somerton man was a spy. Others think he was poisoned. Some say he was involved in a love affair, and the code was a message to someone who never showed up. But the truth, no one knows who he was, how he died, or why his last message was, "It is finished." A man with no name, a code with no key, and a mystery that remains, even now, unfinished. On Christmas Eve, 1945, the Sodder family went to sleep in their home in Fayetteville, West Virginia. George and Jenny Sodder, and their 9 children. But just after 1 a.m., Jenny woke to the smell of smoke. The house was on fire. She and George rushed to wake the children, but only 4 made it out. 5 of them were missing. Maurice, Martha, Louis, Jenny, and Betty. They were never seen again. Firefighters arrived hours later, long after the house had burned to the ground. But in the ashes, there were no bones, no remains, nothing. Experts insisted the fire wasn't hot enough to completely destroy human bones. Even in a house fire that burned for hours, something wasn't right. A ladder the family kept outside had been moved 30 feet away and thrown down a hill. Their phone line had been cut. A stranger had recently threatened George, and days before the fire, the children had told their parents about a man watching them from a parked car. Then things got stranger. Jenny began receiving reports from strangers, travelers, even a hotel clerk, claiming to have seen the children alive after the fire. One said she saw them peering out from a passing car. Another said she served them breakfast at a diner. A third claimed the children were taken by a mysterious Italian family. None of the stories could be confirmed, but none were ever disproven. As years passed, George and Jenny put up a billboard along Route 16, their children's faces visible to every passing traveler. They refused to believe the kids died in the fire, and maybe they didn't. In 1968, more than 2 decades after the fire, Jenny received an envelope in the mail. Inside was a photograph of a young man. No return address, no message except a note on the back. Louis Sodder, I love brother, Elil boys, a 90132. The face resembled her missing son, but no match was ever confirmed. Whether the Sodder children died in the fire, were kidnapped, or were taken for reasons still unknown, no one has ever found out. 5 children vanished on Christmas Eve, leaving behind a burned house, a grieving family, and a mystery that still has no answer. In the early hours of June 10th, 1912, something unspeakable occurred in the quiet town of Villisca, Iowa. The Moore family home was silent. 8 people slept inside. 6 of them were children. Sometime after midnight, someone entered the house. No one heard them come in. They moved room to room in the dark. And when the sun rose, every person inside was dead. The killer used the family's own axe. The bedroom showed no signs of struggle. No one had woken up. No neighbors heard anything at all. Whoever did this had moved silently, with purpose, and with a level of calm that investigators never understood. There were strange details. All of the mirrors in the house had been covered. All the windows had been hidden behind blankets or cloth. A plate of uneaten food was left on the kitchen table, and a bowl of bloody water sat nearby, as if the killer had washed up before leaving. A lamp had been placed at the foot of the parents' bed. The chimney of the lamp had been removed, making the flame dimmer, as if the killer wanted just enough light to see, but not enough to be seen. Investigators searched for footprints, but the killer had walked calmly through the house, leaving no clear clues. Some believed it was a random drifter. Others thought it was someone the family knew. A few believed it was a serial killer traveling by train, striking in the night, then vanishing on the morning rail. But with no fingerprints, no motive, and no confession, the case went cold. To this day, people still visit the Villisca house, some out of curiosity, some out of fear, some looking for answers that were never found. But no matter how many theories rise and fall, no one has ever identified the killer. A quiet town, a sleeping family, a crime with no witness and no cause. And more than a century later, the Villisca Axe murder house remains one of the darkest mysteries in American history. In the 12th century, in the quiet English village of Woolpit, farmers discovered something impossible. 2 children standing at the edge of a field, a boy and a girl, both dressed in strange, unfamiliar clothing, and their skin was green. The children spoke a language no one had ever heard. They refused all food except raw beans pulled from the ground. And they seemed terrified of their new surroundings, as if the world itself felt foreign to them. When they were brought into the village, people noticed more unusual details. Their eyes were wide with confusion. Their voices had an unusual tone, and they kept pointing toward the setting sun, as if something was missing. The boy grew weak, unable to adjust to the food or the world around him. He died shortly after he was found, but the girl survived, and when she finally learned enough English to speak, her story was stranger than anyone expected. She said she and her brother came from a place called St. Martin's Land, a place where the sun never fully rose, where everything was bathed in perpetual twilight, and where everyone was green. She said they were tending livestock when they heard a strange sound, a deep, echoing noise unlike anything in their world. Then suddenly, they found themselves standing in a field of sunlight, in Woolpit. Some believed the children were simply sick or malnourished. Others think they were refugees from a distant land. But some believe their story was literal, that the children stepped through a portal from another world, a parallel place touched by eternal dusk. And after nearly 900 years, no one has been able to prove or disprove how the green children appeared in Woolpit, or where they came from. In April of 2006, 27-year-old medical student Brian Schaffer walked into a crowded college bar in Columbus, Ohio, and was never seen leaving. He spent the night talking with friends, laughing, drinking, and at 1:55 a.m., he stepped outside toward a small hallway near the bar's main entrance. Security cameras captured him walking into that hallway, but not a single camera ever recorded him coming out. There were only 3 ways out of the building. 2 were covered by cameras. The third was a locked maintenance door no customer could access. Inside the bar, no one saw any sign of a struggle, no arguments, nothing unusual. It was as if Brian simply slipped out of reality. Police reviewed hours of footage from every angle. They even analyzed shadows and clothing colors, searching for signs he might have disguised himself or blended with another group. But no frame of video ever showed him leaving the building that night. Even stranger, his cell phone would ring for several days afterward before going quiet. His voicemail picked up calls normally, as if the phone was still functioning somewhere. To this day, Brian Schaffer's disappearance remains one of the most baffling missing person cases ever recorded, a vanishing that should have been impossible, yet somehow happened. In January of 2013, 21-year-old Elisa Lam checked into the Cecil Hotel in downtown Los Angeles. For several days, she stayed in a small room on the upper floors of the building. Her trip seemed normal. Her posts online were cheerful. And then, she vanished. When police searched the hotel, they found nothing unusual in her room. No signs of a struggle. No obvious clues about where she'd gone. But then, investigators found something else. Security footage from one of the hotel elevators. The video shows Elisa stepping inside late at night. She presses several buttons, but the elevator doors never close. She looks out into the hallway. She steps back inside. She moves to one corner, then another, as if she's hiding from someone just out of view. At one point, she leans out into the corridor and makes strange gestures with her hands, as if communicating with someone who isn't there. Then she walks out of the elevator entirely, disappearing down the hall, and the elevator doors finally close, as if nothing had happened. For days, she remained missing. Then hotel guests began complaining that the water from their taps was dark, foul-tasting, and coming out in weak streams. Maintenance workers climbed to the roof to check the water tanks. Inside one of them, they found Elisa Lam. How she got onto the rooftop, past locked doors and alarmed stairwells. How she climbed the side of the water tank. How she got inside without damaging the lid. And why she behaved so strangely in the elevator. No one can fully explain. Theories range from a mental health episode, to someone following her, to something far stranger. But to this day, the final moments captured by that elevator camera remain one of the most unsettling pieces of footage ever recorded. And the truth about what happened to Elisa Lam, in the last hours of her life, may never be known.